Hello everyone, my name is Megan Rebello and I will be talking about the challenges to natural resource management and sustainability of vulnerable wildlife. So to start off with, the main problem is that the treatment and management of individual animals regarding their relocation and removal and the human interactions they face daily need to be reconsidered and improved to consider individual animal needs and their individual rights within their ecosystems. This is important to understand because of species interactions and community dynamics. If one species is extinct or missing from a population due to removal and relocation, it can often affect the entire food web and the overall health of the environment they once lived in. It is also important to recognize that each individual animal can have different circumstances and related to their health and wellness. And this one of the cases that summarizes this is the upper respiratory tract disease in gopher tortoises. The Many gopher tortoises experience this disease, and it is very contagious amongst other tortoises. So removing and relocating a tortoise with this disease can lead other populations to be susceptible to this disease and can cause large infections and even fatality in many gopher tortoise populations. So it is important to consider the overall health and wellness of each individual animal before they are being relocated. Another problem I wanted to mention in relation to the upper respiratory tract disease in gopher tortoises is that they are often euthanized when they get a positive test instead of being treated, and many of the tests have actually came back as a false positive. So often this leads to premature death of many tortoises because their tests came back false, and they are often euthanized so they don't cause disease to any other tortoise. And even though the test might be negative and they are not posing a threat, this often happens and is a very big problem in their population conservation. And the future well-being is often not considered in most animals when they are being relocated, and research is often not used or not considered, and animals are just relocated to places that are available, and that might not be a suitable environment for them relative to predators, prey, and just overall habitat and weather conditions. So it is important that research goes into where these animals are able to go and survive properly. And another problem I wanted to note is that many humans want direct benefits for themselves and they don't think about the benefits related to the animals they are relocating. Ramifications of this problem include that animal legal rights are usually not considered, as well as food web altercations. Premature extinction in some areas exists, which can cause major effects to food webs and overall health of environments. Reproduction and conservation are also things that go unconsidered because when relocating, they're often just pushing animals to a certain place and not considering their reproduction habits may be important, and their conservation is also important, and they need to be in certain areas to be successful. Also spreading illnesses, like I said before in the other slide, and if you are not knowing that a animal is sick before relocating, it could cause risks to other populations, and humans having final decisions as infrastructure demand increases. So usually humans win, and if they want to build something, they often win, and the animals are often left with no place to go or are euthanized. So it is very important to consider this problem. Existing policies that relate to this problem are the Endangered Species Act, which conserves and protects endangered species by prohibiting the take, such as harassment, removal, harvest, kills, or of endangered and threatened wildlife. The Lacey Act is also an important policy in relation to this problem because it prohibits the trafficking of wildlife, including illegal possession and the transport of wildlife species. The effectiveness of these policies is that they help to protect endangered wildlife on a species level, but they fail to protect animals on an individual level, which is important for disease management and local health of ecosystems, as I mentioned before. They are more of an overall broad kind of policy rather than a local policy, and work to save overall species in larger areas rather than focusing on individual needs. And most of these policies do not consider the individual rights, as I stated, especially in specific cases where diseases and other problems need to be considered before relocation or removal occurs. The ethical approaches that would help this problem include incorporating land ethics, which is when humans feel as though they are part of the land and not superior to the land, and they have moral responsibilities and they lessen their individual thoughts and focus more on what they can do to help preserve the land as they are part of it rather than above it. Another approach I found important in this case is the care ethic, which involves respecting the relationship with animals and caring about their well-being and the relationships they have with humans. And lastly, I believe that education is important because educating the public and the landowners about vulnerable and endangered species is important in order to protect wildlife and give them the best life possible and the benefits they need to survive. Suggestions I have for this problem include creating stricter regulations for relocation of animals that should be evaluated, specific research on new location sites, as well as the health of individual animals must be approved and considered. The health of wildlife and animals should be strictly evaluated before infrastructure is built, and the more respect and rights need to be given to individual animals. And these are my references. Thank you for listening.